what's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome to fourth quarter. Bam, 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 bam. We are back. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Oh, man, this has been a good week. Football is back. And, guys, you can always catch us on YouTube that you're watching right now. Also, we have podcasts. This is also a podcast. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. So that's what's going on. Also, we got Mo, CJ here, and me, James. Man, we're going to talk about what is going on in sports right now. And I'm a definitely start with Mo on this one because he loves college football, guys, and college sports. First of all, did y'all stay up to 2:30 to watch Deion's game?
Sure did.
I watched. I don't even remember watching the ending, but I definitely was over Mall crib for my niece's birthday watching. I think we got like a half of it.
Man, this is what happened. So I'm sitting there, and I'm looking. I'm like, damn, they getting blown out. And then I was like, man, I'm about to go to bed. And my man Matt texted me. He was like, hey, you watching the game? I was like, wait a minute. I was like, okay. So I started watching it when they were on the verge of coming back. Like he told me to tune into it I think they were down by 8. That's when I started watching it. So it was I loved it. It was a good game. What were your thoughts, Mo?
I mean, it's when you're a program like that, and I get sometimes with Deion there and the people there and the hype there, but it's a thing you need. It's the type of win you need, especially when you're rebuilding. Like people don't realize still, even with the changes, new coach, people brought in. This program was a 2-win team last year. So when you're a building program, you have to be able to win those type of games sometimes where it's ugly. You don't play their best, and they've done it back-to-back weeks. They went back and forth with Nebraska. Now you sitting there, you get blown out. You're pretty much in some people's eyes your best player, and other people's eyes their second best player gets hurt on a really bad hit, and now you're sitting there like emotions high, like a rivalry game, and they overfight it. So I think it's a momentum builder. And I'll get to this soon in my segment, but I really think they're going to get it really brought character to them, and I think they're going to get one of the next 2 games. They got 2 big games coming up, one against Oregon and back-to-back against Oregon and USC. I won't speak to which one they'll get, but I definitely will come out and say they're going to get one of them.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I watched the game. It was pretty good. Travis Hunter is okay. He has his own show on Bleacher Report app. He said he's good. He got a lacerated liver, though. It wasn't a clean hit, obviously. But he'll be back and he'll be healed. Unfortunately, I think he's gonna miss 2 big games, Mo. But we'll see about what Colorado can do. Craig, what were your thoughts on the game?
I thought it was I thought it was a good game. It had excitement. It had the comeback that you wanted. At least I wanted Colorado to win the game. I talked last week about this possibly being a trap game because they might have been looking forward or looking ahead to Oregon. But I don't think they were looking ahead. I just think that Colorado State played pretty well. And then obviously one of their best players, Travis Hunter, gets knocked out of the game. So he's on both offense and defense. So he's not available for either side at this point. But they were able to make a comeback. They left them a little too much time at the end of the game where they had to go 90, 98, 97 yards down.
Yards, yeah.
And then they ended up getting a touchdown and ended up getting a 2-point conversion to go to overtime. So it had all the drama, the hype that you wanted, I guess, if you're a fan of Colorado or Colorado State or just an exciting game. I really wanted I wanted a more decisive win. I wanted Colorado to blow them out. That way they could feel. I mean, that way at least I can feel a little bit better about them going to Oregon. At this point, I don't think they're going to beat Oregon. I don't think they're going to beat USC either. So, but at the end of the day, this season wasn't about, I guess, winning like 9 or 10 games for me. It was just about just playing hard, going out and doing basically just you couldn't get any worse than 1-11 last year. So going out and at least trying to get bowl eligible is what I was kind of hoping for, at least 6 wins. They're halfway to that already. So teams that I believe I've seen the things that said like teams that started out 3-0 that only won 1 game the year before. I think the highest wins was 8. So I think 8-4. So they still have a chance to get at least 6 wins. Or more.
6 more or okay, you're going 6 plus. Okay.
I'm just saying I think they could get. I mean, I haven't really looked at the schedule too hard. I just looked at these next 3 games or these 3 games with Colorado State and then Oregon and then USC. I know later on they got Utah and Oregon State who's ranked and UCLA who's ranked. So they got a tough schedule. But I was just looking forward to these next 3 because I know it's going to be a tough stretch with this rivalry game, in-state rivalry game with Colorado State, and then 2 division games back to back. So I think if they can steal one, though, I think it'll be a big momentum boost for this team going forward. It's just going to be tough because playing up in Eugene that crowd is crazy. Yeah. Fortunately, they get USC at home, but they're playing against Caleb Williams.
That's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy.
So
that's going to be crazy, man.
I was happy that Colorado got the win.
If I could go to a game, Craig, I would go to that one.
I wouldn't go to that one, but
USC versus Colorado?
No, I'd probably go something like Michigan, Ohio State, because I know.
No, I'm just talking about for Colorado. Like if you had a chance to go to
a Colorado game. Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, probably. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, this game, if you had went to this game versus, because I know Stephen A. Smith said he wished he had went to this game versus going to the Nebraska game because this game was obviously a lot better, a lot more competitive. So, but you know, I'm rooting for Deion. I'm hoping that he gets his program turned around. Looks like he is turning around in the right direction. But I'm still kind of skeptical on what's going to happen these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I'm going to read off to you, right? They play Oregon this Saturday. Then they play USC on the 30th. Then they play Arizona State. Then they play Stanford. Then they play UCLA. Then they play Oregon State. Then they play Arizona, Washington State, and they end with Utah. So I can see them winning 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't think it's going to be.
I can see them winning 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think they've already overachieved. I don't think it's a disappointing season, even if the next. I mean, obviously it'll be disappointing to them, but to go from 1 win to right now 3 in your first 3, I think it's a big improvement and
huge,
achievement for that school. Going forward, I think it can only help the team to get recruits and things like that. I didn't believe in this team I think last year we said it. I was like, I think they got a wild.
Yeah, you were like, nah, James. You were like Colorado's the worst team in football.
Maybe I was wrong, but I mean, it was still they got 9 more games to go, so we'll see what happens in these next 9 games.
And do you know that the top left tackle visited Deion, and the top quarterback in the country, 5-star recruit, visit Deion when they played Colorado State? And I know they probably met Lil Wayne because he was there. I was just sitting there like, he's going to be tough. I think he's going to probably get a lot of recruits, man. Because that I know for a fact, Keyshawn Johnson said he's going to go to the USC Colorado. That joint is going to be crazy because a lot of notable people went to USC, so it's going to be, man. I can't wait for that game.
You could argue that the Pac-12 is the best conference in the nation.
It is. Well, I'm sorry. You can argue
8 great teams.
Yep, and the quarterbacks play. The quarterbacks are phenomenal in the Pac-12. You got Bo Nix, Shador Sanders, Caleb Williams,
Michael Penix.
Penix is from Washington State.
No, Washington.
Washington, yeah, Penix.
I don't think any school out of this conference is going to win the championship, but I think they got a deep conference. This is probably the last year they're going to be together, but
it's funny. People said that if Deion would have came 2 years ago, the Pac-12 might have stayed together.
I don't know. Because, they were still – he was there this year, and they were already starting to leave. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. You can't do – yeah. Because I think Deion said to Colorado, they're leaving for the Big 12? This is Big 12, right, Mo?
Yeah, Colorado's leaving for the Big 12 after this season.
They're leaving for the Big 12, yeah.
Good luck with that. Well, actually, the Big 12 is going to be not going to be the same Big 12.
Big 12.
Texas and Oklahoma are leaving. So
yeah.
So you have the biggest competition right now. You have K-State, TCU, who they just
BYU, Oklahoma, Texas are leaving, right?
Yeah, Oklahoma, Texas.
Cincinnati's still there.
You have Oklahoma State,
Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Iowa State.
Now you just naming teams at this point.
They're deep. They're gonna they're decent. I think they have better competition than the Pac-12. I think. Well, no. What I'm saying is, after UCLA and Colorado and all of them leave, the Pac-12 is really not gonna have anybody.
Well, the Big 12 have I don't know how many teams. 4 teams, something like that. Not gonna have that many teams.
And the Pac-12 is Utah staying?
I don't know, but I know a couple of teams are going to the ACC.
Yeah.
So
Stanford. I know Stanford and is Stanford and Cal or Stanford and somebody going to ACC next year.
Okay.
I know for a fact it's Stanford. I know Stanford won out.
You know what I'm saying? It's
wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The Big 12 is not going to be. I don't think in football it's not going to be the same because Texas A&M already left, and then you're losing Texas and Oklahoma. I don't even really know who's going to be like the team to look for.
Yeah, but you still got TCU,
maybe Utah, but I don't even know. I had to wait and see what happens.
I'm about to look and see if Utah's leaving because they're probably going to leave.
Utah
has to leave.
They're going to the Big 12.
Utah going to the Big 12 too?
Yeah, Utah, Arizona State, Colorado.
Dang.
Who else? I don't know who else. Can't think of my. But those I think they're the 4 teams that are leaving, or at least going to that conference. I don't know about the other ones.
Let me ask y'all this quick. Do you think it's going to? So the Pac-12 is basically gone, right?
There's only 2 teams left. There's only Oregon State and Oregon State and Washington State. Oregon State and Washington State, I think, the only ones about to be left.
And then you have the SEC, which is powerhouse conference, and they're getting Oklahoma and Texas. Dang, this SEC is crazy. And then you have the Big 12 is going to have Colorado. Then the Big 10 is a big conference.
Right. And but here the wild part is though, everybody gonna beat them on everybody, and what's gonna cause is I think next year they go into the first year of the
playoff.
Yeah, they're down 12 teams in. But what the thing is though is every conference champion, even that I think even the AAC, even those get a bid. They get an automatic bid into the top 12. So if anybody who wins that AAC, they get that automatic bid.
Oh.
Everybody gonna beat up on each other. So man, I think it's gonna cause coaches to get fired more quickly than usual because you add that. It's almost like now what I was talking about with the NFL. When you add that extra playoff team now, you talking about now half your league goes to the playoffs. Like you talking about in the NFL right now, you talking about almost half your league go to the playoffs. What? 14? 32 teams, almost half your league going to the playoffs. So if you ain't going to playoffs by your second year in the NFL, or now if you a big time program, you ain't in that college football playoff top 12 within your first year or two, they'll be people when we quit to get rid of you now.
Yeah. Especially if you're especially if you're like at LSU.
Yeah.
Or Texas, or like if you're the school that knows to get recruits, I mean, they're probably gonna get rid of you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're at Ohio State, you should be going to the playoffs every year. Which I mean, most times you are, So I definitely agree with you, Doug. All right, Mel, what is your top 4 college football ranking?
All right. So we got at number 1. I'm gonna stay status quo what the AP has right now. Number 1, I'm gonna go Georgia. The Bulldogs, they were in a dog fight with South Carolina last weekend, but they pulled it out. They have UAB this weekend. Should Bulldogs over them. Michigan at number 2. Harbaugh's back. This is his first game back coaching this season. They're going against an undefeated Rutgers team, but I still think they should win. Number 3, I have Texas, who is in a trap game of sorts. Baylor was a team that people were talking about early in the season, but they've stumbled up the blocks going 1-2. But we know in a rivalry game like that could be a game where you come out sleeping, you get caught. Florida State, out of my top 4, they have the biggest test. They have Clemson. I know some people feel like Clemson slipped, but I think this is a scary game because Dabo is going to get them up and now going to have them back to where they were early Trevor Lawrence, early Deshaun Watson days, where it's like us against the world. Nobody believes in us. Nobody sees us as anything. So I think this could be a real true test for Florida State to see if they're back or not. And on my outside end, I got USC at 5. Their defense scares me. Offensively, I think they can rock with anybody in the country, of course. But defensively, it scares me to put them in the top 4. But I feel like if they with some games coming up, they can kind of creep in there, especially if Colorado beats Oregon this week, and then they come around and play them and they beat Colorado. I think that can kind of slip them into the top 4 in my mind. Definitely there. I think we also have shout out to some games coming up. Colorado, like I said, Colorado, Oregon. Another top 10 matchup. We got Ohio State versus Notre Dame, which would be a huge game. A huge game for both teams if they're trying to make the playoffs top 4. It'd definitely be a notch on their resume. I think out of both of them teams, I would say Notre Dame needs it more. I would have to look at their schedule to see who else they have left. But Ohio State will still have you got some ranked teams in the Big Ten who you still go against, and you still get, if you finish, even if you lose this, you can run the table as long as you beat Michigan. And I truly believe Maryland's going to come up. By the time they play Maryland, they'll be ranked. So I feel like they'll have another opportunity. And so they beat Michigan, then win the Big Ten championship. I feel like they'll be in. They'll still have Penn State, who's top 10. They're in another top 25 ranked matchup against Iowa Saturday night. That should be good, physical game. So I definitely like how things are going. This weekend's going to really, the next 2 weekends are really going to tell us a lot as we swing into October. And I want to say October 1st, that first weekend in October is when they come out with that first college football ranking, that official one. They first come out with that top 4.
I was just looking at who's the starting quarterback at Maryland. Is it Tua Little?
It's still Tua's little brother. Yeah, he decided to come back. Yeah, it was rumored he was going to test NFL waters. I think he did. He didn't do an agent, but he did talk to some people, but they convinced him to come back.
Man, he is small, yo.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's another reason people convinced him, like, hey, like you're undersized, like you got to be able to show a different type of skill set. Or I wouldn't be surprised if people try to get him to go to combine and try another position, but It all depends on how he feels about himself.
Yeah. Golly. Craig, we're going to go on to my segment right after this. Craig, he's 5'11", 208 pounds.
Yeah. I didn't even think he was 208. That shot me, man.
How big is Bryce Young?
Might be
Yeah,
just
about the size.
same,
He about the
yeah.
size of Bryce Young. I figured that. He about that size. Because Bryce Young is 5'10", 205, probably 210. Probably around the same size. But Bryce Young, I think Bryce Young was a lot better though, right? I just think he's better than Tua's little brother. I hope he tries to go to the combine. I don't mean like, being sarcastic like Craig. Yeah, obviously he's better, but 5'11", 208, man. Go try though. You should try. But it's
I mean, but I think he won. That's why he came back though. He won. He did definitely test waters, and I think seek opinions. But he decided to come back. He decided to come back.
Look what his brother going through. His brother had to put on weight, and Tua's not no small guy.
Not at all.
Not
at all. But I think he's done great things at Maryland. I think he's going to get a look. I think he's definitely going to get a look, a camp look. I don't know if he's going to get drafted, depending on how he finishes this year. But I definitely think he's going to get a camp invite.
Camp invite.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Craig, let's start out with the NFL. Aaron Rodgers. Now, he had a surgery. Everything is good, guys. But he's saying that he could be back for the playoffs.
Playoffs? Oh, no.
That's what he said.
No, I got you.
Craig, do you think Aaron Rodgers comes back in time for the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I think he comes back to watch it on TV.
Come on.
I mean, even if this team makes the playoffs, I think he'll be there to be on the sidelines. That's about it. He's not playing this. Like, come on, man. This is. I mean, unless either he didn't have an Achilles tear or whatever, like a full Achilles tear, and it's like a partial or whatever, it can be healed up in 3 months, or he's on that journey that he takes when he in the off season where I don't know what he does, do his little trips to, I don't know, and just does what he does in the off season. I don't know, where he just gets tripped out of his mind or something like that, and he just believes whatever somebody's. I don't know. He's just out of control with that one. Or, I mean, like I said, he's just gonna watch it on TV. I don't know why or how he would be coming back in 3 months, 4 months to get ready for the playoffs. That's just not gonna happen. So he's gonna be like the rest of us fans, and he's gonna be able to enjoy it, and then he'll be back next year. I mean, maybe he's thinking next year as in 2024, but the 2024 season he'll be there for the playoffs. Because he didn't did he specifically say what year? I don't know. I didn't really read the whole thing because I after I saw it, I just pretty much just turned my head on it because it sounded it sounded too far fetched for me. I've seen like younger guys get an Achilles tear, not seen, but heard younger guys getting an Achilles tear and being out for longer than 3-4 months. So
Cam Akers came back quick, but he's 24.
Unless he's part like Wolverine or something like that, or some type of he has some type of doctor that is the newest, and he can do everything and heal everybody up and bring them back out there in no time. But being 39 years old, about to turn 40 in December, I'm just not buying it. So,
all right. So this is what he got. I'm about to explain it. So he got surgery last Wednesday, and it was done by renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Neil Atrache. Sorry. He performed an innovative procedure designed to accelerate the normal rehabilitation process from such an injury. He placed an internal brace called an Achilles speed bridge on Rodgers' torn Achilles. The surgery allegedly protects the repair and opens up the possibility of an early return. In fact, the relatively new procedure is designed to have an athlete fully recovered in as little as 4 months.
Okay. I believe it when I see it. But either way, by the time that time comes in December, January time, the Jets will be so far away from the playoffs, you ain't got to worry about it. But I like the motivation to maybe get the teammates to believe or whatever he has to do to get their confidence up or something like that. Like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. Let's go ahead and play for him. Or what? I don't know if that motivates them that way or whatever, but I'm just not buying it, man.
I mean, we talked about their schedule. Mo, what do you think? You think
it's about their quarterback? Who the quarterback is right now? He's not good. But I don't really see another option.
And his schedule was already brutal with Aaron Rodgers. They got the Patriots, Chiefs back to back. Then they got the Broncos. They could win. Then they have the Eagles. Then the Giants. Then the Chargers. That's tough with Aaron Rodgers.
Bills, Jets back to back, and then Bills, Jets back to back.
Yeah, that's hard with Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? But Mo, what do you think? You think Aaron Rodgers comes back in 4 months?
I mean, he can, but unless they bring some quarterback in here that can produce something, they're not going to make it now. Because I see the writing on the wall already. Garrett Wilson was getting frustrated again. Because he did oh my goodness. And this, I was joking with my brother Todd. I said this might have been the first time I seen Diggs aggressive, but on just a flat route, break him down type move. Man, Garrett Wilson broke him down. I said, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I said Garrett Wilson gave him that 1 foot in the ground and got on it, and Wilson missed it. And I think Stephen A. Smith and them was like, they could see him on the sideline and wasn't no frustration. He was laughing like he was over there laughing with teammates and not frustrated, like kind of brushing it off type stuff. And it was like, come on, man, like it truly comes off now is. But what quarterback do they bring in here that could? I mean, I ain't gonna say anybody could be better than Wilson right now, Zach Wilson, but pretty much anybody can. But who comes in right now? Who they can bring in right now that gives them enough pop? That gives enough pop to, to make them a playoff team right now. Like how they look right now, I had them in my playoffs. I might have to make an adjustment. I had them as my 5th seed. I mean, I had them as my 6th seed. I'm nervous right now.
Colin Cowherd said that Minnesota, they should trade for Kirk Cousins. But Colin was like, you asking a quarterback to come in mid-season and learn a whole new playbook?
Yeah.
On the fly?
Right. Unless you think truly, but I'm saying what could Jets give up
the line?
It's not. That's not. I mean, if it's this early in the season, it's not that bad. I think if they get Kirk Cousins, they can probably play him in like week 4, maybe week 5. He can learn a couple plays.
Mm-hmm.
At least in week 4, he can learn a couple plays that he's comfortable with, like 20-some plays or 20-some type of whatever it is, formation type things or whatever it is. And then after that, he gets to learn more and more of the playbook. By the time like week 8 gets here, he's a full-blown starter. He knows the whole playbook for the most part, and he's a better option than Zach Wilson is. It's just going to take him time to learn the playbook, and you probably won't see him until like week 4, week 5, realistically. But I think that's outside of just going out and getting like a Carson Wentz or somebody like that who's a free agent. That way you ain't got to trade no assets.
Mm-hmm.
Or getting somebody who is a free agent. I'm not sure who else is out there. Or you could trade for a guy like Davis Mills. Davis Mills not going to see the field no more unless C.J. Stroud gets hurt. So, I mean, like, you could do something like that. But, I mean, at the same time, you're still trading assets, even though he's not going to cost you as much as Kirk Cousins would.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, people saying trade for Stafford. Trade for Stafford. He's going to cost you a decent amount.
It's going to cost him an amount.
Plus, his contract is high, just like Kirk Cousins. His contract is high.
Well,
You already
Kirk
got
Cousins is
Aaron-
in the last year, I think.
He
He's
is.
a free agent.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you would still have to trade away certain assets to get him.
Yeah, you have to.
But
They're gonna
I
ask
don't
for.
even-
They're gonna ask for a. They're gonna ask for a nice haul for Kirk Cousins.
And what would the
I mean,
Vikings?
you at least get a first. I mean, you at least get some type of package that's going to equal a first or going to equal a high second for Kirk Cousins.
I
don't see the Vikings trading him away for just peanuts.
I'm not
Knowing
trading
that
that
now,
personal Kirk
knowing
Cousins.
I'm not trading Kirk
I
Cousins.
get what you're saying, but I'm saying in season, knowing that you're desperate, they're going to try to hold your hand and be like, hold up. We
If
know
they
you're
trade
desperate.
Kirk Cousins, they're definitely tanking.
I gave you a nice 3rd round pick for Kirk Cousins, and that's the highest I'm going. That might be pushing it. It's because he's getting old and because he's
last year contract.
Yeah, contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you really think,
I think with the Jets being desperate and knowing they got like I'm looking at it right now, you really look at this like especially on the defense side of the ball, they got all pros on each level of that defense, man. All pros. I ain't talking about Pro Bowlers. I'm talking about all pros.
Yeah, on the Jets, yeah.
Yeah, like it's now like it almost comes off as if you're wasting the defense.
What if
because they're gonna get frustrated. Eventually, you break down when you play at a high level like that. You're gonna break down with it. And we saw it last year. They came out balling just like this, and then towards the end of the season, we saw some cracks and some breakdowns because like we can't keep this the NFL. This physical game. You can't keep holding the teams to under 20 and you ain't getting nothing from your offense and think you just gonna keep going through that. Like this, eventually some things gonna happen.
What if they trade for Kirk Cousins and the Jets get to the Super Bowl? Then what do you do? Or if they win the whole thing, then what do you do?
They gonna go back to Rodgers. I mean, I get it, but they gonna go back to Rodgers. They ain't gonna keep Cousins on Cousins gonna be afraid. They ain't gonna sign Cousins. They ain't gonna sign Cousins. I can tell you that.
Well, Cousins he'll go somewhere and get paid.
You just let
that joint will break Aaron Rodgers' confidence.
Win a Super Bowl, and then you got Aaron Rodgers hobbled still. You don't know.
Cousins gonna be a.
You know what I'm saying, Craig? Aaron Rodgers. Can you imagine if Kirk Cousins goes to the Jets, he wins the Super Bowl, Aaron will be hurt.
And listen, Kirk Cousins gonna be a more talented Ryan Fitzpatrick coming up. He gonna be a dude that's gonna go team to team until he retires. I ain't gonna say this is the last shot, but this is almost the last shot on a good team, on a decent team.
Somebody gonna pay Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, of course. The start just
gonna pay him.
Feel like some hope.
A team like
rolling out right now. It just ain't got no running game, and his defense is good.
Which they cut Dalvin Cook. So
yeah, that was crazy. I don't know what they thought they had or what they thought everything was going. I don't understand how they thought that was going to work to me.
If Kirk Cousins is a free agent, either Minnesota's going to bring him back or he'll go somewhere.
I mean, but my thing is, do Minnesota draft a quarterback? Who is signed to Minnesota? I mean, it's people that would take the money, but it's like, would they have to draft? Would they have to start over and draft? Like, who would? Because I would think with Jordan Jefferson, with the people you got, Addison, the people you got on offense, you want to try to win now. You know, Hawkinson, like you would try to win now. You wouldn't try. I don't know if they're gonna be happy with a rebuild. Then that might make Jordan. That might make shoot. If Jefferson numbers go down, he gonna start to complain. He ain't gonna be cool with no flash in the pan rookie coming in there off just a whim. And
they got a good team.
Right.
All right, guys. On to my segment. Is it time to panic or nah?
Beep. Panic button.
All right. So, is it time to panic or nah for the Bengals? I'm not gonna say yet, but I'm a little worried. We're gonna talk about it later. I'm gonna say what I have to say later. I'm just worried about that calf injury. We all see what they lead to. We just saw with Aaron Rodgers. We saw with Kevin Durant. I don't think Joe Burrow can throw the ball deep because he uses his calf to drive it. Thus, Jamar Chase is getting frustrated. So I'm not going to fully panic, but it's time for some concern. Another team that is it time to panic or not? The Broncos. Is Russell
Yes.
Wilson washed?
No,
Is
I'm not saying
Russell
Russell.
Wilson washed?
Mhm.
He plays good in the first half, plays terrible in the second half. He's constantly getting called out by Sean Payton. But guess what, guys? They owe him a lot of money because his contract, not only did they trade all these assets for him, but his contract. His contract is coming due. And he got a lot of guarantees. They can't just cut. They can listen. I mean, they can play that game. The Waltons have a lot of money. They can cut him, but they're gonna owe him like I think $200 million or something like that. I think he signed $200 million in guarantees. So we'll see, but we'll see. Is it time to panic? Cleveland. Deshaun Watson looks bad. He doesn't look like the old Deshaun Watson. They're having all their time off of football. It doesn't do you good. I don't know what's going on with him. And he's probably going to get the coach fired because, oh, man, they can't do anything with him because they traded 4 first-round picks for him, and they signed him to a $235 million guaranteed contract. So they can't do anything. They owe him all that money. And he has a good defense. He has a good run game. He has good receivers. He has a good old line. There's no excuse for him. No excuse. Okay, yeah. So Russell has 124 million guaranteed. The only way they can get out is 2026, and that's after they paid him $161 million. So they can't really.
Hey, so James, let me ask you a
They can't
question.
really cut him. They're gonna if they can, but they're gonna have to pay $161 million. That's a lot of money. But yeah, anyway, back to Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I don't know, man. Is it time? This is my last one. And I was completely wrong about this team and this quarterback. Justin Fields, man. He's playing bad. I don't know. He's not seeing the field correctly. I listened to Greg Cosell. That's all he does is break down quarterbacks. Said Deshaun can't see the field. That's scary, man. I mean, Justin Fields can't see the field. He's still young. Maybe the coaching hire was bad. Maybe they should have went offensive if you have a young quarterback. Maybe. That's the way to go. If you have a young quarterback, you should have an offensive-minded head coach. So the Bears worry me a little bit. They worry me. They worry me a lot. But I'm going to say this. They might draft a quarterback next year because the GM is not tied to Justin Fields. And they got a lot of trade assets. So, and is it time? I think that's it. I'm gonna save the Steelers. I'll do the Steelers, man. What's up with Kenny? What's going on with this terrible quarterback play? What's up with Kenny Pickett? Najee Harris is starting to look bad, man. Kenny Pickett looks like a deer in headlights out there. He was looking good in the preseason. So what's going on? Are they going to end up getting another quarterback too? He looks bad. And I like Kenny Pickett. I thought his upside was like Kirk Cousins, average. That's what Pittsburgh needs. They got good defense.
Consistent.
Just a regular average quarterback. But nah, man. It is time to panic with the Steelers. I wish we had our amendment show already, and I was like, oh, I'm not worried. I am highly worried. The panic button is going off because they do not look good at all. It's still early, but the Steelers do not look good. And Mike Tomlin's a defensive coach, so I don't know what they have to do to turn it around. Now, guys.
If neither one of us had them making the playoffs. So is your panic button more on them having a winning season? Period.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. It's yeah. Are they gonna have a winning season? Craig, what is your top 5 list this week?
So the list is, since we have 9 0-2 teams in the NFL right now,
it's a lot,
and only 11% of those teams usually make the playoffs. I went with the top 5 teams, 0-2, that have a chance to make the playoffs.
Okay,
so it's less than half of them, or excuse me, it's more than half of them. So, my number 5 team, I did like a picker, or like the wheel spin thing where I had the Broncos and I had the Panthers. The Panthers won 5, as I was doing the best out of 9. So the Panthers won 5-4. But the more I thought about it, the more I just couldn't put the Panthers in there because their schedule coming up, even though before the season started, they had an easy schedule on paper, but all these teams that are winning, they have now like the 5th or 6th toughest schedule remaining. Now that could change, obviously, because it's remaining schedule, but the way their offense looks, I'm not sure I can put them in there at this point, even though they're in a better conference. Plus, they're 0-2 in the division. So I went with the Broncos at 5. The Russell Wilson, for what it's worth, he's actually playing pretty well. Like his numbers aren't horrible. I mean, actually, the numbers are pretty good. He's got 5 touchdowns and 1 interception, which is way better than what he was doing last season. His passer rating is 4th in the NFL. He's getting 242 yards a game in passing. He's completing about 68% of his passes. The 5 touchdowns is 2nd in the NFL. So, I mean, he's putting up numbers. He just has some type of moments where he just makes some iffy plays. If you just saw the numbers, you'd be like, oh, that's not bad. Why are they 0-2? Or I'm not putting all this on Russell Wilson. But at the same time, he makes poor decisions every now and then with his decision making. So that has to get changed. But at the same time, they have a defense on paper that's really supposed to be really good. They have a running game. At least they have a running back, 2 running backs. They have some wide receivers there. So I think they can pull it together. I didn't pick them to make the playoffs. And this is slim pickings because it's only 9 teams. And I'm not picking the Cardinals or the Bears or the Texans or the Panthers. So got to go with the Broncos here.
Oh, yeah.
They got the Dolphins coming up next at the Dolphins. Possibly a loss. They got the Bears after that at Chicago. And then they got the Jets. So it's going to be – the next game is definitely going to be tough. Don't see too many 0-3 teams come back and make the playoffs. The last I remember was the Texans in 2018. They started 0-3 and they finished 11-2. That was Deshaun Watson and them. So it can happen. It's just you don't want to put yourself in that situation, and it's really, really rare. My number 4 team, I got the Vikings. Kind of touched on a little bit of this earlier. The running game without Dalvin Cook, they had the worst running attack in the NFL. Their passing game is really good, obviously. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson out there, and you got Jordan Addison. So they got and T.J. Hawkinson. So you got some really good receivers, but you need to run the ball, and especially in these close games, it's just not happening for them. The defense is mediocre, but this is pretty much a must-win game coming up. They got the Chargers, who are another 0-2 team. Then they got the Panthers, a winnable game. Then they got the Chiefs at home. It's going to be tough. But Kirk Cousins, just like Russell Wilson, he's got numbers. He's got 6 touchdowns to 1 interception. He leads the league in touchdowns. He's up there, and I think he's first or second in yards per game.
Playing good. He's playing
his
good.
QBR is high. It's just they don't have a good defense, and they don't have a good running attack. That's what's hurting them. And then all these close games they were in last year, they won. This year so far, they're 0-2. Actually, if you want to be technical, they lost their last 3 because they lost the playoff game to the Giants. So, but they're in the easy conference, so they can still turn it around. My third team is the Patriots. The Patriots actually are playing pretty well. You see what can happen when you get an offensive coordinator instead of 2 defensive guys or whatever it is. They've been in both of those games. They had I'm not gonna say the refs cheated them, but I mean they didn't cheat them, but they had iffy calls or calls that could have went either way. Against the Eagles, the guy for the wide receiver, that was his fault. He didn't drag his foot. And then the overturned call against the Dolphins. So who knows if they get those calls or the receiver drags his foot or whatever it is, maybe they win both of those games. We're not sitting there talking about they're 0-2 for the first time since 2001, I believe. So under Bill Belichick. So it's unfortunate that the Patriots, I mean, because I didn't really believe in this team, but I see the way that they're playing. They have good chemistry. The running attack isn't what I thought it was going to be, especially when you bring in Ezekiel Elliott and you already have Ramondre Stevenson. Their passing game is better than their running game. And the defense is just normally, I mean, they're hovering around top 10 right now. They're 14th. I thought the defense would be a little bit better, but they have played 2 really good teams, the Eagles and the Dolphins. So they got the Jets coming up next, a road game, then the Cowboys, and then the Saints at home. So I think if they can get this one against the Jets, I think they can probably beat the Saints, at least kind of go to 2-3, and that won't really put them out as far as some of these other teams. The Chargers, like I said, they play the Vikings this week. This is a must-win game for either team.
Yeah. You see it's on who you got.
The team that loses this game, I think, is I got them out at this point.
This is crazy. Is this early in the season that this is a must-win game?
Playoff at this point.
0-3, you done.
The Chargers, a must-win game for both of those, and it's this early in the season. That's crazy. Go ahead, Craig.
Chargers have a really good offense. Everybody knows about the Chargers offense. Last week they lost to the Titans. They didn't have Austin Eckler, which is unfortunate. But they still have so many good other wide receivers, and they have Justin Herbert at quarterback. So they have talent there. The defense is what's bringing them down. The defense is 32nd in the NFL. You look at the defense on paper, you would think that Derwin James and Asante Samuel Jr., Joey Bosa,
Khalil Mack,
like J.C. Jackson, like all these guys on this defense, just names. And you would think that they would be able to not be 32nd in the NFL. And that's where they are, man. They're passing the 32nd in passing defense as well, 30th in points. Like they're just not able to do anything on the defensive end. And Justin Herbert can only do so much. Staley, I don't even know if they lose this week, they got to go in a different direction. For a guy who's supposed to be a defensive guy, I didn't want Staley to be hired in the first place because I thought they should have went offensive because of the young quarterback. They went defensive, and for a guy that's defensive, the team is 32nd in defense. It doesn't make any sense. It's not just. It's
I
just
think
not
we
happening.
all thought that. We all thought they were going to hire Brian Daboll.
They got to go in a different direction here because at this point, even if they win, I just think you just got to get them out of there, especially if they look really bad on defense again. Because I think, well, Kellen Moore is doing his job. Team is 4th in total offense, but he's just not. The defense is terrible. And then I got the Bengals at number 1. I'm still holding on just because they were out of all these teams, they have the best chance of making the Super Bowl, or at least before the season started. And right now they're the worst in the league in offense, worst in the league in points per game, which you don't really associate with, at least the last couple of years. You haven't associated with the Bengals. The defense is 28th, so they're really bad in both offense and defense. They can't score. It took them almost 7 quarters to get their first touchdown of the season. They finally started going, and then but it was too little, too late. They already were behind the 8 ball.
So you're saying they can't score? So their defense is 28th? I didn't know that.
Defense is 28th, and their offense is 32nd. So they're not producing on either side. I mean, against the run, they're 31st against the run. So they can't stop the run. They're really, I mean, they're top 10 against the pass, so that's good in defense. But I mean, on offense, the 32nd total, the 30th on the pass, the 28th in rushing, and the 32nd in points. You have that type of offense when you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow,
Tyler Boyd.
Like, no reason why this team should be that far down in offense when you played the Ravens. I can understand it, and you played the Steelers. Which, I mean, not the Steelers, the Browns. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, again, I can understand it because there's two division teams, but there's no way your offense should look that horrible. So I'm still holding out because they got the Rams this week, which is a winnable game, and they got the Titans, another winnable game, and they got the Cardinals. So if they can win all three of these games in a row, they'll be back to 3-2. And then last year they started the 0-2. Granted, it was one division game and one game against the Cowboys, so it wasn't two division games, but they came back.
Who did they lose? Was it Cleveland again?
Last year, the start of the season?
I know it was the Cowboys.
I'm not sure. The Cowboys was the second game. It might have been Pittsburgh, or I think it might have been Pittsburgh. But I'm not 100% sure on that one. I have to look at their schedule from
I'm about to tell you right now. Yeah, it was I'm going to tell you right now. It was
I think it wasn't two division games last year.
It wasn't. It was the Steelers and the Cowboys.
Yep. It was the Steelers and Cowboys.
The offense looked better last year, though, but
and they lost to Steelers in overtime, and they lost to the Cowboys. It was the last-second field goal. They didn't look this bad last year.
Well, you got Joe Burrow with the injury. He missed training camp and all that stuff, so that might have definitely hindered his progression, but there's no way he should look 32nd bad. So
nah, because Craig, after they lost those two close games, they put 27. They scored 27 points against the Jets and 27 against the Dolphins. Then they had a divisional game, of course.
But that was the game that Tua got hurt and he didn't play the second half.
Yep. Then they put 30 points on the Saints, 35 on the Falcons, 42 on the Panthers. Sorry about that. 37 on the Steelers. So their offense they beat the Chiefs.
This is a must. I mean, all these teams have must-win games. The best thing you can hope for is a tie. Other than that, if you lose, I think it's even though you have one extra game, you have one extra playoff team. It's just a tough hill to climb out of when you put yourself in that big of a hole. So we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping the Bengals can pull it out.
It's going to be very interesting. This is going to be very interesting because and now they said Joe Burrow might not play.
Yeah, I know, and that's like a Monday night game.
The Cavs, they might try to hold him out for a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, they got if you look at their schedule,
it's very winnable.
It's winnable.
Well, at least the next 4 games, they can win all 4 of these.
They can
before they go on the bye week.
They can rest him. They have the Rams, Bengals. I'm sorry. They have the Rams, Titans, Cardinals, Seahawks.
That's Seahawks one tough. That's Seahawks one tough. They play Seahawks without Bengals.
Yeah, but if they can go 2-2, if they can go 2-2 in that stretch without Joe Burrow, I mean, I think that they have a bye week, and then
missing that many games,
But they got winnable games, so I don't know. That them calf injuries scare me, man. They because it would suck if he played and then something happened. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
everybody looking at the Bengals organization.
Then he's out for a year, and he misses another training camp. That would, and you're gonna have him off. He might, like, if he injures it, you know what I'm saying? Like, he might start the season on the PUP list. So I don't. We'll see. Them calf injuries they're not nothing to play with. They're nothing to play with. All right, guys. Craig, we're going to go to contenders or pretenders. Mo, I'm going to start out with you. I'm going to say, is this team a contender or pretender? And I'm going to say why. All the teams right here, they're not all the 2-0 teams. Obviously, I'm not going to pick the Dolphins because we know they're good, right? Like, I didn't pick all the 2-0 teams, but I did pick these certain teams. And it's a lot of 2-0 teams. I think it's more 2-0 teams in the NFC than the AFC. But, All right, Mo, Commanders, pretender or contenders?
I'm going to say contender. I'm going to say contender, and I'm going to say why. Eric Bieniemy is part of the energies of this team. James, I think me and you was talking about this before, we went live. Last year, I felt like we'd have got blown out in this game. It had been ding-ding because of the energy of the head coach and then how Scott Turner's energy. But this year, it just feels like Bieniemy's bringing a different energy, competitiveness to this team that's hungry. If our D-line can stay healthy, I love what Chase was doing. He showed a twitch to him that he had during his rookie year. I think Sam Howell, as his confidence grows, as we do things the right way, his confidence is going to grow. I think we're a contender. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but I think as far as contender, to me, for us, contender means us making the playoffs.
Okay. All right. Craig, Commanders, contender, pretenders.
I said it last week that I thought that if they could win this game or show some type of life, that they could be a team that I think could make the playoffs in the AFC, in the NFC, even though I didn't pick them to make the playoffs before the season started. So I'm going to go contender right now, just because I think they showed that they could come back from being down and on the road, being down with your offense looking the way it did early, and then the defense, when they got that turnover, that fumble, and then Russell Wilson for some reason just looked at the ball like he could at least dove on the ball, at least even if he thought he was down, to at least try to dive on it. He just watched it. But from that point on, it just gave the Commanders some momentum. They scored before the half, and then next thing you know, it was 21. It was 21-3, then it was 21-14. So I think if they can keep playing like this and having that confidence, and I think it did well for Sam Howell because he just went out there and he just played. He played phenomenal. He almost had 300 yards in his first road game, and they were able to come. Like I said, they were able to come back against a really not a good team, but come back on the road regardless of who you're playing, especially when you got to travel out to the West Coast or to the Midwest. So hats off to them. And we'll see what happens this week because they got the Bills coming up. It's a home game, but it's going to be a tough one. But right now, I think the Commanders can make the playoffs.
Yeah, I might have been wrong, man, and I'll be the first to say it. I do think that. Listen, Sam Howell looked good. Our offensive line is horrible, but he actually showed me a lot by standing in the pocket, completing his passes. And Eric Bieniemy is a huge difference, man. Scott Turner would have just called screens the whole second half. That's neither here or there. Mo knows what I'm talking about. Screens and then wide receiver screens and the Curtis Samuels run. That would have been our whole second half offense. But I like how Bieniemy is getting. Mo, we talked about this. The tight ends involved more, the receivers involved more, and he Bieniemy adjust in games. And how surprised me, we were down. The defense is playing good. So I'm gonna say definitely I got the shirt on. I was wrong. I think that if they can build on this, then I think I had them as 6 or 7 wins. I think that could be bumped up. They could go to the playoffs. All right, Mo, contender or pretender? The Saints.
Ooh, this is a tough one. Because of the division, I'm going to say contender. Because of the division, I feel like Tampa kind of Tampa kind of there with me. I don't fully believe in them. I feel like eventually you're going to pick it up. Eventually they're going to pick it up, and get it going. So I'm gonna go contender with the Saints. I think Kamara's coming back. 2 weeks from now? Then he got one more week on the suspension. They gave him 3 weeks, right? I think he's back
4.
after next week. I think they gave him 3 weeks or 4. Either way, he's back within the next couple of weeks. I think that's gonna give him some pop in the run game and pass game. I like if Michael Thomas can stay healthy, Olave can get it going. I think the Saints can win that division. So I'm gonna say Contenders.
You're right, Mo. He'll return week 4, October 1st. So that's when he returns. Craig, Saints, contender or pretender?
Saints are a contender. Their defense is really good. Everybody, that's pretty much what they're predicated on. They got a quarterback now that can make plays compared to what they've had the last couple of years since Drew Brees retired. He did have a pick yesterday, but they were able to overcome it with their defense. So I think, like Mo said, once Kamara comes back, they'll have a guy who's pretty much been rested. He hasn't been hit for the first 3. He won't be hit for the first 3 games. He'll come in and he'll be Alvin Kamara like we've seen the last couple of years. Chris Olave and Michael Thomas and Shadid or whatever his name is. I don't know his name. He's really good as well. He's the only person so far to catch a touchdown pass for the team, but they were able to still overcome that and win some games. They play in the Dome, which is another pro for them, another positive. So late in the season, they ain't got to worry about the tough weather elements. And they play in an easy division. So there's really no reason why the Saints can't win the division. And I picked them to win the division before the season started. So I'm not going to go against that right now. And as long as the defense keeps playing like it is, and if Michael Thomas can stay healthy, like Mo said, the team should be ready to win this division in December.
Yeah, I'm gonna go contender. I know they were on my panic list, but their schedule is so easy. They got the Colts, the Bears, the Falcons. Like Craig said, you said it, Craig. Their division is typically easy. And Carr worries me. He still makes some crazy decisions, but I think because of their schedule and their defense and Kamara coming back, they'll win the division. Mo, contender or pretender? The Bucs. Oh, you're on mute, Mo.
My bad. I'm proud of what they've done.
Yeah.
I'm glad they 2-0. I like Baker, his energy. I like Mike Evans looks happy. He looks like he's getting the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know if they can keep it up. So I'm gonna say pretender only because I like what they're doing, but I see the Saints catch a fire, and I don't see them winning the division. Looking at the rest of the NFC, I can't see them making the playoffs, but I can't see them crash a lot of people's parties. I can see them being a team down the stretch. If they face a NFC team trying to get in, they need that tiebreaker. I can see them upsetting some teams. But as far as making the playoffs, I'm gonna say pretender.
Craig, the Bucs, contender or pretender?
Pretender. I'm not a believer in the Bucs. Excuse me. Baker Mayfield's having a really good season. He looks like the number 1 draft pick type of Baker Mayfield. It looks like the quarterback that a lot of people thought he might be when he was drafted in the Cleveland. But I'm not a believer in this Bucs team right now. They played the Bears. I don't think the Bears are that good. The first week of the season, okay, you got me with the upset on the road against the Vikings. But I also didn't have the Vikings really doing much either. Now, if they can beat the Eagles this week, then I'll change my tune, and then this will be a whole nother conversation. But
would they make your top 5?
top 5 teams in the NFL?
No, your top 5 list. Because you know you always have a top 5 list. But then
depending on what the topic is. If it's like 3-0, I don't know. Surprise team, I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, it might be. They could possibly be in there, especially if they pull this one off this week. If not, then it's back to who I thought they were before the season started. But like I said, Baker Mayfield is playing. He's playing really, really good. Mike Evans is playing good. The offense looks really good. The defense looks solid. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I got him as a pretender.
Yeah, I have him as a pretender. I didn't have him. They surprised me. I think they're going to win more games than I had them predicted for. But I don't think they'll make the playoffs. But they might, like Mo said, they might be 8-9, 9-8. And then I don't really think you can. I don't think you can get rid of Todd Bowles at that point because there's no justification for it. But you're right. Can they beat the Eagles? We will see. It'll be that's going to be a interesting game. So right now they're they're pretenders, man. Last one. Mo, Falcons, contenders or pretenders?
I'm the same for the same reason. I'm gonna go pretenders. I like what they're doing. I like Ritter. It looks more comfortable than he did last year. Of course, I like Bijan Robinson. I like their backup running back. It looks like Drake London, first round pick. Was he first or second round pick 2 years ago from USC?
First round.
He's coming along. I'm waiting for Pitts to turn that corner. But I like what they have, man. I think they're going to be another team that could ruin some seasons or catch some people off guard. But if we're talking about contenders as far as making the playoffs right now, I don't see it. So I like what they're doing. I love what they're doing. I love the pieces they've been drafting and building, but I'm gonna say pretender.
All right. Craig, contenders or pretenders? Falcons,
I got them as a contender to make the playoffs. I think their defense is playing really, really well. Their offense, Ritter's not lighting the scoreboards up or anything like that, but he's making for the most part, he's making the right play. Bijan Robinson looked really good last week. Tyler Algier looked good as well. So they have those two guys, and if they can get Kyle Pitts involved somehow, the offense is going to look a lot better. But as of right now, I think their defense is holding the team together. Excuse me. They haven't really played anybody yet. Now this week is going to tell a lot because they're playing the Lions. So I want to see how that defense holds up against an offense like the Lions and how they can score and move the ball up and down the field. It also be the two top running backs on the field together, or not together, but going against each other. So as of right now, I think the Falcons can make the playoffs. It's just going to be how I want to see how they respond to this game coming up. A road game against a tough team. So right now, I got them as a contender.
I have the Atlanta Falcons as a pretender. Ritter scares me. Ritter scares me, man. I don't think he's a good quarterback. And I like their defense. I like Bijan Robinson, but for some reason, I don't know what Arthur Blank's play calling is, but you got to get Drake London and Kyle Pitts involved. So I don't know why they're not. I don't know whether it's play calling or is it Desmond Ritter, because they're going to start facing some good teams. They can't afford to not have Drake London and Kyle Pitts not be involved with the Lions, because the Lions going to put up points. So that's what I'm just worried about them. I need to see more down. I need to see more plays down the field from Ritter and more aggressive play calling from Arthur Blank. Um, so that's where I'm at with them. Okay, Craig, we heard this already, but I do want to ask you, out of the following teams that are 0-2, which one, pick one that is very concerning, and pick one out of these. So one, you're concerned. You're hitting the panic button. The other one, you're like, I'm not worried about it because of this. The teams are Craig, the Patriots, Bengals, Broncos, Chargers, and Vikings. So which one are you very concerning? And then pick one that you're not worried about.
I guess I would be worried about the Broncos because I had them at 5. So I'm just going by what I had on my top 5 list. I'm not sure if Sean Payton can save this team. I didn't have him making the playoffs anyway, but I mean the way that they had the lead and then they blew it, and then they lost the first game of the season to a Raiders team who I don't think is really good. They could have been 2-0 right now. And this whole conversation about Russell Wilson and Sean Payton and everything like that in Denver could have been just it would be a non-issue because there would be nothing to talk about negatively for the most part for the team. But the fact that they lost both games, they blew the lead. They had the Hail Mary was nice, but unfortunately they needed 2 to tie the game, and just weren't able to get it done. So I just think that the Broncos, like I said, I didn't have them making the playoffs anyway, but it's just other things. Russell Wilson's making some bad decisions here and there. Like his stats are really good, but it's just some other stuff that comes along with it. And the defense just didn't play well. I mean, they were able to get to the quarterback last week, but I mean, especially in that second half, they didn't play well at all. So that's my team that I'm concerned about. The team that I'm really not concerned about, I put them at 1, and that's the Bengals, just because they did it last year. But I mean, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen with Joe Burrow and his calf. If he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, then that's going to change. I mean, it's going to change, obviously. Yeah. But
that 0-3 is tough.
As long as when I'm hearing he might play or he could possibly play, then I mean it's going to change my mindset on this. But even though their offense is struggling, their defense is struggling as well, I just think this team is just too talented and a Super Bowl contending team to be in the position that they are, or for me even to think that this team would not make the playoffs. So I had to still believe that. They got a winnable game this week against the Rams at home. Joe Burrow gets an extra day off because the game's on Monday night. So we'll see, man. I'm hoping he can come back and be there not 100%, but at least close to 100%. But I'm sticking with the Bengals right now.
All right. So I'm gonna pick one team that I'm very concerned. And then I'm going to say one team I'm not worried about. The Chargers are very concerning to me. They're very concerning, man. I think that for Brandon Staley to be this defensive genius, and we all called it out. When they hired him, we were like, what are they doing? We all said it. We were like, yo, they got to get offensive minded. It's going to be Brian Daboll. No, Brandon Staley did not and is not doing good. And players are starting to tweet. They're concerned with the coaching. That defense should be elite. That he is a defensive coordinator. So what is he doing? What's he doing? Kellen Moore has the offense, right? You're supposed to have the defense, your defensive play caller. You have one of the Bosa brothers, Khalil Mack, he might not be the same, but we don't know because you might not even be calling the right defense. You got Jerwin James, you got J.C. Jackson. What's going on here, man? That defense should be. We should be talking that defense like it's Philly or San Francisco. That's how good their defense should be, based on the personnel that they have. Their defense should be, it should be like the Commanders, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Bills. We should be having that conversation about this defense. But instead, they're 0-2. This might shock you guys. One team that I'm not worried about. I think I'm going to go with the Vikings. I think the Vikings played a lot of close games. I think that their division is topsy-turvy. I think if they, like Justin Jefferson doesn't die for the pylon, they might win that game. I just think Kirk Cousins is playing good. They just got to fix some mistakes. And I think they're going to be able to do that. And I think they're going to be able to pull it around. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I'm just saying out of all these teams, I'm not really worried about them. I think they can, turn it around and finish up the season strong. All right, Mo. You got to pick one of these teams. Which one team is very concerning? You're very concerned about, like, it's time to hit the panic button. And then which team you're like, you know what? I'm not really worried. It's the Patriots, Bengals, Broncos, Chargers, Vikings.
So I'm going off of what you've done lately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go off of who your coaches are, it'd be easy to say the Patriots. Mm-hmm. But if you're going off what you've done for me lately and what we expect, gotta go to Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Have to go Chargers. You were in a playoff game last year. On the road, whether it's on the road at home, but you was on the road.
Mm-hmm.
You were up over 20 points, lost.
Mm-hmm.
You come back, fired the OC, blaming on the OC. You went back, blaming the OC, brought in Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, they're averaging, if I'm not mistaken, they almost scored almost 60 points in 2 games.
Yeah.
And you're 0-2.
Yeah.
I think 60 games with no turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how many turnovers they have. But 60 points, almost 60 points in 2 games, and you're 0-2. So it's like, now it's on the defense. Like you said earlier, James, I don't know, Craig or James, you said it. But for them to do what they're doing offensively, and then your head coach is a defensive coach, and you're looking bad defensively like that, and you got a lot of money invested in that. You're talking about Derwin James, Bosa, Mac. You got a lot of draft picks and money invested in that defense. And you're 0-2, I'm very alarmed about them. I'm very alarmed. If it doesn't pick up soon, I would be shocked and appalled if he's not fired by Christmas. That's just me. He's been there long enough. That's just me. If he's not fired by Christmas, unless they pick it up and turn the corner, I would be shocked. Especially after how they let that game go last year. That was just ridiculous. Team I'm not worried about. I'm gonna go to Bengals, even though I'm worried about them. But out of those 0-2 teams that you mentioned, I'm least worried about them. I just feel like the it's too much talent. It's too much talent. They've been there, done it, and they've been there at a high level the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. I just feel like it's too much talent and it's too much experience for you not to turn the corner. For you not to turn the corner. I'm not. Would I sit here and say now I'm shaking on there? I had them as a number 1 seed in the NFC and the AFC. I'm shaking on that. But am I shaky on them making the playoffs? No.
Okay.
I'm not shaking on that, but I'm shaky a little bit on them being the number 1 seed in the AFC. I will say that now.
All right. Now, upset. All right, guys. You know it's time for it. It's upset alert for week 2. And you guys got to pick one crazy upset. Mo. Oh, side note. I was close last week. I was close. Craig was close. Mo, who'd you pick last week for your upset alert?
I forgot. I don't know. I gotta look at it again, but I forgot what I said.
But yeah, it was.
Did I say Vikings over Eagles? I think I said Vikings over Eagles.
Yep. That was close too. All right, Mo. Who picked? Which is your crazy upset week? What's your crazy upset pick this week?
I gotta look again. Let me stroll down here. Let me stroll down here, man. Nah, that ain't no crazy upset. All right. You want to throw you say crazy. You're saying the word crazy, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw.
Yeah, pick something wild, man.
I got you. I'm gonna throw something wild out here. Two of them. I'm gonna throw two out here.
Okay.
And the only reason one of them ain't wild, but some people might say wild because they 0-2 and they 2-0. One, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna say the Colts versus Baltimore. At times, Baltimore's offenses look a little erratic. Colts' offenses started to pick up some steam. I understand it was the Texans, but I just think sometimes when you look erratic and sometimes you start to smell your press clippings. I don't know Odell's injury. I don't know. I think they might be on upset alert. Colts look a little like competitive. Another one I'm gonna throw out there is Broncos and Dolphins. Broncos 0-2, Dolphins 2-0.
I like it.
I feel like you gotta do something. I mean, if you can go 0-3, Sean Payton was brought in here for a reason. Sean Payton was brought in here to do something, and you thought he was worth the change and he could bring change here. Now you staring down 0-3 at the hole. If they go 0-3 in the AFC, it's hard. I don't see you overcoming 0-3. So I think must win. Dolphins 2-0. Dolphins see some things too. I'm gonna say one of them two gonna be upset. That's my two upsets possible.
All right, Craig. I like it. You got this is upset alert. I like it. Craig, what you got for your crazy upset alert, man?
I'm not going that too far out. Can't do it. There's no team really. I don't think there's a team out there that I think can win. That's not favored, except for the Tennessee Titans. They're playing the Browns at Cleveland. Cleveland looks horrible. Deshaun Watson, I just don't think it's working. I thought maybe last year he was trying to get his feet back underneath of him, didn't have a whole offseason, and everything that happened, he got suspended, obviously, came in late, whatever happened, blah, blah, blah. But nah, man, he's just not the same player. I think they need to start running some plays that Deshaun Watson was comfortable with in Houston or something like that, because it's just not whatever plays that they're running now is not working. And then they just lost Chubb, who was probably 45-50% of the offense.
Yeah,
it's just not working out for him. And then on the other side, the Titans got a big win last week. Against the Chargers team, who has aspirations to make the playoffs. They would have put that team away, and then they haven't really looked good, but I just think that they have. But the Browns haven't looked good either. So I just think two teams are solid on defense. Derrick Henry's out there still running the ball. D-Hop is still catching the ball. Burks had a big game last week. I think the Titans can pull this one out. It's going to be a tight game, but I think they'll be able to go in and get a road win.
All right, so I have the Raiders beating the Steelers, man. Got the Raiders beating the Steelers.
Raiders are favorite.
Oh, they are? I thought the Steelers were about 1.5. It must have changed.
It must have flipped because now it's 2.5.
Golly. Well, I can't pick that one, guys, because that's just.
what I was going to pick.
Yeah, I thought the line changed quick. Vegas must know something, man. That joint changed quick, Craig. Oh, man. Bump it. I'm going to go Texans over Jaguars. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm going Texans over Jaguars. It's a divisional game. Texas is
Right.
gonna be, they're gonna beat them in Duval County, man. Hey, listen, I'll listen. This is crazy upset alert. So you got to pick some off the chain. So I'm picking the Texans over the Jaguars. It's a divisional game. Texans looking feisty. Shout out to CJ Stroud too. He looks all right, man. He looks all right. I mean, we all knew he was gonna be good. I'm waiting for Bryce Young to. I'm waiting for Bryce Young, man. It's gonna come. I think he's gonna be better later in the season, Craig. But yeah, I'm picking the Texans versus the Jaguars, man. Upset, Craig. I can't believe the Raiders and the tag, man. The line changed that quick. That's crazy. Let me look at the Rams and the Bengals, man.
Bengals about 2.5.
Bengals by 2.5.
That might change if Burrow's not gonna play or not or whatever.
Yeah, I think that might change the Burrow play. How Rams been playing?
Yeah,
Burrow
Rams
playing.
Decent. The
Rams are shocking to me.
They played the 49ers tough.
They're shocking.
They beat the Seahawks easy.
You know what? Hey, Sean McVay. It's early in the season, but they don't. I thought they were done for.
And they about to get rid of the Akers.
They need
to trade him to Cleveland. Maybe.
Yeah. I think Cleveland.
Her team brought Hunting for a visit. They brought Hunting for a visit.
Yeah, that's not bad either. That way you ain't got.
They named Ford. They named the dude Ford from last night. Dude ran the ball well.
Yeah.
They named him the number one.
That's
running
why
back
they cut
right
Hunt.
now.
They cut Hunt because of Ford. But the Bucs are interested in Cam Akers too. He's gonna get traded.
Oh, he's gonna get bit. Yeah, he's gonna get some rock. He gonna get the rock. Like he's gonna get some.
He's gonna get traded. I don't know why he's in Sean McVay's doghouse because this has been since last season.
I don't know. He's saying stuff. If he ain't happy in the rotation, I don't know.
I can't speak to it. Yeah, I can't. We don't. Nothing has come out. We just know that he's in the doghouse. When you're a healthy scratch, man, that's just saying something. Anyway, guys, it's time for my favorite segment. Pop out, boom. I'm working on my soundboard now. Actually, just anyway. I'll tell y'all after the show. So yeah, man, I can't wait. Mo, we're gonna start out with you. The Falcons versus Lions. Who you got?
All right, Falcons versus Lions. I'm gonna go coaching. I'm gonna go Dan Campbell. Gotta go Dan Campbell. What he's done with the Lions. I like the 2-0 start with I forgot the head coach Arthur Smith. I like the 2-0 start, but overall I'm gonna go Dan Campbell and his staff. Offense, I'm gonna go to Lions. Just weapons. I love Gibbs. Golf is having a good season. Golf is also a great start. St. Brown, and then I'm waiting for when they get Jameson Williams off of suspension. I think they're gonna take off and really do some moves. Defensively, I'm still gonna take I'm gonna take Detroit. I like Hutchinson. Their secondary is competing. So in this game, I like how Atlanta's competing, but I think overall, the Lions have the better overall squad. So I'm gonna go the Lions. I'm gonna go runaway late. I'm gonna go maybe 34-21.
All right, Craig. Falcons versus Lions. Who you got?
Coaching, I think, is close. I'm going Dan Campbell. I think slightly. Arthur Smith has done a great job so far this season. Got his team to 2-0. I didn't expect the Falcons to be 2-0, but here we are. Offense, I gotta go to Lions just because the Falcons can't really get their receivers involved, especially Kyle Pitts. He hasn't been involved pretty much ever since he left Florida. So look on the other side. I like what I see out of Amon St. Brown. If Montgomery comes back healthy, he adds obviously another extra piece to that running game. Gibbs, they need to get him more involved, especially in the passing game. Looked like they said they were going to get him more involved this past week. They really didn't. It was kind of hit or miss, especially looking at this team that they are looking at Seattle. You thought it was going to be a high-scoring game, which it was, and really wasn't a lot shown from Gibbs, but I'm hopefully the more the season goes on, the more they can get them involved. Defense, I got to go to Falcons. The Falcons right now are third in the league in defense, total defense. The Panthers game, the Panthers are not good on offense, but the game against the Packers, even though Jordan Love had 3 touchdowns, he only had like 150 yards passing. So, and I mean, it helps when you don't have Aaron Jones as well, but it is what it is. And the Falcons defense is playing. I mean, I thought they were going to be mediocre, but they're right now they're playing pretty well. If they can slow down this Lions team, I might be on. I mean, I'm not a Falcons fan. No, I'm not even. No, don't even put that in the thing. I didn't say that. I'm not a Falcons anything, but they might make the playoffs. They can beat the Lions. But I'm going with the Lions here in this game. I think the Lions they let one slip last week. They let one get away. Those are the games that you're gonna look back on late in the season, and you're 8-8, and you need now say you need a win and you're in, instead of you're 10-6 or whatever it is, and you're comfortable getting into the playoffs because of losses like that at home against Seattle, especially how they looked in week 1. But I think this is a big game for the Lions. They're playing a 2-0 team. Give me the Lions 31-20.
Falcons versus Lions. Okay. Coaching, I'm going to go with – I like Arthur. I told you, I know I have my concerns on Arthur Smith. I don't think he's a good play caller. I don't think he utilizes his weapons well. They're good being 2-0, but it's the beginning of the season, and I think Dan Campbell's just a better coach. They had a big win against Kansas City. They was a bad loss last week, but I think, like a lot of people think, Seattle's a playoff team. And I think that Dan Campbell just has his team ready to go. And that's it. I think he's just a better coach, a better motivator, man. He bites kneecaps. That's what he does. Bites them. Offense. I would pick Atlanta, but the problem is they're not using Kyle Pitts or Drake London, so I can't pick them. I got to go with Jared Goff, who they have Gibbs, right? I think David Montgomery is hurt. They have a very good established running game. Amon St. Brown he's a phenomenal receiver, flat out. Stays healthy. He's just a baller. He's a dog, in the words of Coach Prime. So I gotta go with the Lions. Their offense is better. They're gonna be putting up points. Defense, I'm gonna go with the Falcons. Their defense has been playing good. I'll give the Falcons that. The defense has been playing excellent, and this is it is a surprise. It's just playing a little bit better than the Lions. The Lions gave up 37 points to Seattle at home. That's a little worrisome. Even though Seattle is a juggernaut of offense, I think they have 3 good receivers and a good running game, but still 37 points. Anyway, overall, this is a big test for the Falcons. This is a big test for the Falcons. And I don't think they're going to pass it. I think they're going to fail miserably. And everybody is going to come back down to earth and see who the Falcons really are. And that is a bad team. I think they're going to get exposed on offense. I think that Desmond Ridder is going to look like he's normal, and he's going to throw a couple interceptions, and everybody's going to be like, what's going on with the Falcons? So I think the Lions win convincingly 35-17. I don't think it's close. Craig, Saints versus Packers. Who you got? God, we got 3 NFC South. They're all 2-0.
I guess coaching, I'm going to go Matt LaFleur. Let me just get Matt LaFleur. It's tough because last week they had the lead against Atlanta, and then they ended up blowing the lead. But I gotta go off of. So I mean, even though the Saints are 2-0, they haven't really looked that great, I guess.
Yeah.
So give me Matt LaFleur. Offense, I got. Offense, I'm going Packers. I think if Aaron Jones is there, and they still have Dylan, obviously, and then they have the receivers. Watson hasn't even played so far this year, so I think once they get Watson back, the offense is going to look a lot different. Same thing with the Saints. Once they get Kamara back, their offense is going to look a lot different as well. They have 3 really good receivers. The running game is hit or miss. I thought they were going to do well last week because the Panthers are a team that can be ran on, and they didn't really run on them too much. But they were able to still take some Hill out there a couple times and Jamal Williams and things like that. But I gotta go with the Packers here, especially if Watson comes back this week, which I'm not sure if he is or not. Mm-hmm. But they were able to utilize some of their young wide receivers that they have. Jordan Love looked pretty good. I think he has 6 touchdowns so far this year, 5 or 6, and no interceptions, which is good. But he just hasn't put up a lot of yardage. But
yeah.
And then on the other side, Derek Carr, I mentioned it earlier, only has 1 touchdown pass. So give me the Packers right now. Defense, I got to go with the Saints. Saints defense is crazy tough to run against, crazy tough to score against. The Panthers had a nice run early, like the first run of the game, and then it was just so much. I mean, they just stuffed Sanders for the rest of the game. It seemed like, for the most part, other than Bryce Young getting like a scramble type of run or creating something, it was hard for them to move the ball on the ground. So, and obviously they have Lattimore and guys like that. Honey Badger, I think, is on the team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Saints defense is always going to be good. Cam is on the line, so it's going to be tough to even move the ball at all. That's what the Saints are known for, defense. Dennis Allen always has this team, at least the defensive side. That's what he's known for.
Yeah, you can't say that about it. Yeah, you always got the defense going.
Yeah, so I'm going with the Saints defense there. In this game, I'm going with the Packers. I'm going with the Packers at home. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Jordan Love is going to be able to hopefully make some plays with his legs, hopefully make some plays with his arm. And I think they're going to be able to pull this one out in Green Bay. Give me the Packers 20-17.
I think this is an interesting game. That's why I put it on here. With coaching, I did like what you said about Dennis Allen. That's one thing you can't. He might be a bad head coach, but he's doing what Brandon Staley should be doing. The Saints defense is good with Dennis Allen. You know what I'm saying? You can't question that. You know he's a good D coordinator. But I with coaching, I gotta go Matt LaFleur. I think he's just a better overall coach. I think that he just had Aaron Rodgers. It looks like he's doing good with Jordan Love. Jordan Love is good. I do want his passing yards up. Hopefully Christian Watson can come back to bring that deep threat. But they're playing pretty good. But I'm gonna give it to Matt LaFleur. For offense, I'm going with the Packers, man. I think the run game is better with A.J. Dillon. Hopefully Aaron Jones comes back. I think Jordan Love is a better passer than Derek Carr. Like you said it, and it's crazy because Derek Carr, he has 533 passing yards, right? Jordan Love is 396, right? Derek Carr touchdown, his completion percentage is 63. Like you see, Jordan Love is 55%, right? But he's thrown 6 touchdowns to Derek Carr 1. I don't know what's going on. He's not their red zone offense has to be terrible, man. So I gotta go with Green Bay. Defense is the Saints. That's an easy pick. For some reason, if I'm not mistaken, Green Bay's defense isn't doing that good this year. If I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I don't. Yeah, they're not doing good.
27th or something.
27th, yeah. They're not doing good. But so that's just what it is. And the Saints just got a better on defense. Green Bay has a capability for its defense to be better, but now they're 27. That's crazy. And the Saints have the fourth best defense in the NFL. You know, they're a good team. Now, who do I have winning the game? I gotta go with the Packers. They're at home. The thing is, the Saints scare me when you're not able to score touchdowns in today's NFL because you have to. This isn't like the early 90s and 2000s where you can just pound the ball and your quarterback can give you mediocre play. If your quarterback gives you mediocre play in today's game, you're going to not have a good record. That's just what it is. And the Saints just scare me. They just scare me in that. And I'm going to go with Green Bay. I think it's going to be a close game. It depends on how they get Olave involved. If how much is he seeing of Jair Alexander, or will Jair Alexander be checking Michael Thomas? And then, luckily this time of year is warm in Green Bay. It's not going to be too cold, but I still have Green Bay winning. It's going to be a low scoring game. It's going to be 21-17 Green Bay. Mo, Green Bay versus the Saints. Who you got?
Coaching, I'm gonna go Matt LaFleur. It's just done more recently. More overall as a head coach. Offense. It's tough on that one. It's tough on that one. It's tough on that one. I'm gonna go Green Bay. It's truly tough on that one, but I'm gonna go Green Bay. No, my bad. I'm tripping. I'm gonna go Saints. Overall, Olave, Mike Thomas, that 1-2 punch, the bat they have running now, he's doing well. I seen them last night sprinkling Taysom Hill here and there. It wasn't really effective, but it did it. I know it's because of contract move. What's in the contract, but I'm gonna go Saints on offense. Defense, I'm gonna go Saints as well. I like what the Saints have, like you said, with Lattimore and Cam Jordan. I didn't like them losing the rookie they not rookie, but they drafted him about 5 years ago. I don't understand how you let him go, but that's in there. I understand money, Davenport, but I can see this being a game where Jordan Love sometimes might do more than what they want him to do. And I can see Saints pulling away maybe 2 scores. I can see maybe a 35-21 type of game.
Okay. All right. Chargers versus the Vikings. I'm gonna start off with this one. This is so crazy because it's week 3. We have a must-win game already. That is wild. Both teams are 0-2. This game is. I'm be excited. This is going to be a good game. So let's get into it. The coaching. I'm definitely not picking Brandon Staley. I'm going Kevin O'Connell. He's had his team. He's done his job on his side of the ball. The offense has been clicking for the Vikings. And to me, that's a better coach because if you're an offensive-minded coach, your offense should be good. If you're a defensive-minded coach, your defense should be good. And just like we said with Dennis Allen, the Patriots, same thing with the Patriots, Belichick. Same thing with Tampa and Todd Bowles. What is Brandon Staley doing in LA? Nobody knows. because the defense is horrible. And that's just a reflecting on his coaching. I got to go with Kevin O'Connell. Offense. I would like to pick the Chargers here. They got Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, if he's healthy. From what they showed me, this is a good one. I'm going Minnesota as a better offense. I think Kirk Cousins is playing really good this year. Jordan Addison is balling, and then they have the best receiver in the whole NFL, and Justin Jefferson. So I'm gonna give the edge to the Vikings. Defense, the Vikings, because the Chargers' defense is nowhere to be found. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. That is a conundrum that only Brandon Staley can answer. But I'm going with the Vikings, and I'm not saying their defense is off the chain better, but it's better than the Chargers. And I like Flores as a D coordinator better than I like Brandon Staley and a head coach. Matter of fact. So can you imagine if Brian Flores was in Chargers, the head coach of the Chargers? What? Anyway, that's neither here nor there, guys. I'm going with the Vikings beating the Chargers. And the coach hot seat turns up because the Chargers are going to be 0-3. And the Vikings, the score is going to be, this is going to be game of the week. The score is going to be 38-35, Minnesota. Mo, Chargers versus Vikings. Who you got?
Let's go into it. Coaching, I'm going to go Kevin O'Connell. Coaching, I'm definitely going to go Kevin O'Connell. Like you said, I just can't go there. I just can't go Brandon Staley. Defense, I'm gonna go Chargers. Defense, I'm gonna go to Chargers. I just like what they have defensively. I understand the shortcomings, but if we're gonna compare it against the Vikings defense, I'm gonna go Chargers. Offensively, I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm gonna go Chargers, man. I just think in the offensive battle back and forth, I'm gonna go more Herbert. Then I'm gonna go Cousins, and I like Keenan Allen. I like Mike Williams, even though I know Jordan Jefferson, Hutch, tight end. They got everything going, but I'm gonna go Chargers. Like I said, James, I think I agree with you. Game of the week. I think this is going to be a tough game. Two teams that truly understand what the moment entitles. They don't want to go 0-3. Both teams do not want to go 0-3. So I think I would go. I truly will. Ooh, this is gonna be tough. Who got more stake? I'm gonna take the Chargers because I think Mike. He's only in year 2. I think you got Staley in year 3 or 4. I'm gonna go Chargers in a shootout, like you said, but I'm gonna go Chargers 35-32.
Greg, I'm definitely. I can't wait to hear your take on this. Chargers, Vikings. Who you got?
Coaching, I'm not taking Staley. I just think he should have been gone after last year's playoff game. And the fact that he's still here, I mean, the defense is horrible. Like I said earlier, they're 32nd in the league, which is last. So you can't get any worse than that, especially with all the talent that they have on this roster. And if they didn't have all this talent, I could understand it, but it's just too much talent to be 32nd through 2 games in total offense. Total defense. I gotta go Kevin O'Connell. At least his teams are in games. And I mean they're right there. They could have won either one of those games. The Chargers, they could have won either one of those games as well, but it's just their defense just giving up too many points. Offense, I gotta go Chargers. I think both offenses are really, really good. They're both top 10. The problem that gets me there that leans towards the Chargers is they're running. They have a better running attack. Both passing offenses are really good. The Vikings are second. The Chargers are 11th. But the rushing attack, man, the Chargers are 5th, and they didn't even have Eckler last week. while the Vikings are 32nd. Like it's just, I mean, their run attack just looks horrible. Whoever made the decision to get rid of Dalvin Cook, I mean, hats off to you because that was a great decision. The way the team's looking, and Madison just fumbling the ball, he can't run the ball. It just looks like, I mean, before the season started, I thought maybe Madison could be a decent running back, but it's just not turned out to be that way so far through 2 games. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. They got a team that's mediocre against the run, so maybe they can put together something. If all else, just get him involved in some short passings, some short screens or something, just to get him involved, make him feel like he's part of the offense. Because running the ball just ain't it right now. Defense, I gotta go. I can't go with the 30 seconds.
It's crazy.
I gotta go with the Vikings, pretty much by default. And the Vikings defense isn't. I mean, they're mediocre. They're middle of the pack. But I mean, the Vikings defense to me just isn't good enough. But when you compare it to a team that has quote unquote supposedly Pro Bowl talent on their roster, and they're just putting up the worst stats in the league right now. I don't even understand how you can even defend that, especially when you have a defensive-minded head coach. Both these teams need this win. I think it's unfortunate that both teams are 0-2 coming into this game. I think whoever loses is probably going to be knocked out with this game. Although I think the Vikings can recover easier because they're in an easier conference than the Chargers can. Mm-hmm. The Chargers really definitely cannot afford to go 0-3. I think the Vikings can afford it a little bit easier. But with that being said, I'm going to go with the Chargers. Mm-hmm. It's a road game for them, but I think they're going to be able to pull this one off. It's going to be another close game because that's what the Vikings do. And it seems to be that's what the Chargers do this year as well. Mm-hmm. Both teams had horrible playoff losses last year, but I got the Chargers 37-33.
Okay. 37. Okay. I mean, this is going to be a good game. This is going to be a good game.
It has to be.
This is going to be a good game.
Watch it. Be online. You both 0-2. Nobody wants to go 0-3. No one would. It's stake.
Watch it be 13-10.
Go ahead. Both the defenses show up.
Yeah.
All right, Mo. I'm gonna start out with this one. Bills versus Commanders. Who you got?
No respect, but I can't go wrong with her. I gotta go Sean Durham. No respect to him, but just them two compared, the demeanor, the pulse of the team. I gotta go with Sean Durham. Offensively, I'm and it's gonna shock y'all what I'm saying this, but I'm only going to Bills because of Josh Allen. I think if there's anybody other than Josh Allen, for the most part, I would go either a push or us, but I think Josh Allen, when you comparing quarterbacks and we say quarterbacks make the difference, I'm gonna go Josh Allen. I feel like we got the advantage in the run game. Then we have the better backs. But I think Josh Allen, his ability to run and create, I think gives them the advantage offensively. Defensively, I'm gonna go us. I'm gonna go Washington. I think our front is better. Our secondary improved over the back end of the game. I think our secondary now has confidence, and I think when you got a defensive line that can rush like that, it allows your secondary to be more aggressive and be able to take more chances because you have a D line that's going to get after it like that. Let me say this. I just talked to a buddy of mine. I just talked to Todd, buddy of mine. I was like, we got to split one of these next two with Buffalo and Eagles. And why not pick this first game? I think we're gonna get Buffalo. I think it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna say Washington over Buffalo 24-21 on the last second field goal.
Craig, Bills versus Commanders. Who you got?
Coaching, I'm going McDermott. I think he's a better coach. Ron Rivera has been under 500 every year, but he has his team plan this year. He's pretty much like must-win type of season for him. So I got it. But at the end of the day, I got to go McDermott. Offense, I'm going Buffalo. I think they had the better quarterback, more experienced quarterback. James Cook looks, they finally gave him the ball, and he was able to run the ball last week, even though it was against the Raiders, but he had over 100 yards rushing. Maybe they finally found their running back that they've been looking for years, since it seems like Willis McGahee or somebody like that was there, or Henry, Travis Henry.
Yep.
Man, but the Commanders' offense looks, at least in that second half, from the end of the second quarter, when they scored before the half, and then from that point on, their offense looked really good. If they can play like that, how they did on the road at home against the Bills, they definitely have a chance to win this game. But I'm still sticking with Diggs and Gabe Davis and obviously Josh Allen and that offense. Defense is close. Both defenses are playing really well. Neither team to me has played anybody, because I'm not a big believer in the Broncos. The Jets didn't have a quarterback. They just played the Raiders. The Commanders also played the Cardinals. It's tough, man. I'm going to go slightly the Commanders, even though the Bills have in terms of total yards on defense, they're better than the Commanders. Yeah. Commanders, though, are able to get to the quarterback. I think they're tied with the Cowboys for the most sacks in the NFL right now.
Yep.
They need to bring the points per game down. I think if they didn't give up all those points in the first half to Denver, it would be a different situation with them. But I definitely think that their defense, especially that front four, the front four is probably the best, or one of the best, top three definitely in the NFL at this point. And now they got Chase back. He was able to get a sack last week, so the more he plays, the more confidence that he's going to be able to get. The Bills are still without Von Miller, so when he comes back, it might be a different story. But as of now, I'm going with the Commanders on defense for this game. I think the Bills are 6.5 point favorites, which might be a little bit too much, especially how they played against the Jets, even though it's a rivalry team and it's a division team and all that. But there's no excuse to lose that game, especially with Aaron Rodgers playing 4 plays and then being out. They look a lot better last week after the Raiders scored a touchdown. And they were down early, but they were able to come back and easily cruise to a win. Commanders, they look good, man. That second half, I gotta say, I'm not a Commanders fan. I can't stand them. Hate when this town is happy, man. It's just I don't know, because my team is terrible, so that's why. But I'm going with the Bills here. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Bills pull it out, and they're able to secure a win, 27-21.
All right, Bills versus Commanders. Coaching, I gotta go Sean McDermott. Great win against the Raiders. That's what they needed to do after they lost against the Jets, to come out, make a statement win. That to me is a sign of good coaching, where it's like, okay, we know who the Raiders are, and we're gonna beat them accordingly, because we're one of the best teams in the NFL. So I'm gonna give Sean McDermott. Ron Rivera I don't like him as a coach. I think he's just a little bit too old school for me. Hiring Eric Bieniemy was a good step in the right direction. Like I said, his play calling is way better than Scott Turner's. I said that earlier. I like it. Matt Howell looked more comfortable in the second half. That's what you want to see out of him. So I'm gonna do Sean McDermott. Offense, I gotta go to Bills just because of the quarterback. Josh Allen we would love to have him. Terry McLaurin is good. Jahan Dotson is good. Curtis Samuel's good. We got 2 good running backs. But Buffalo Bills, Stephon Diggs is a game changer. You could say he's a top 5 receiver, maybe. And then you could definitely say Josh Allen's probably a top 5 quarterback. That's just is what it is. And I got to give the offense to them. And they got Gabe Davis, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. I just think James Cook is playing good. I just think that they're a better offense. That might not be the case next year. Maybe Howell makes that jump, but right now, no. Defense, I gotta go Commanders. I gotta go Commanders on the defense, which is it's not surprising. We invested a lot on the defensive side of the ball. Jack Del Rio's a D coordinator. Chase Young got a sack. Montez Sweat. We got Deron Payne. We got Jonathan Allen. The front four is pretty good. Davis is looking better. Hey, that kid, Emmanuel Forbes, I like what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Emmanuel Forbes, Craig.
You didn't like it when it was drafted.
I did. I said I wanted Joey Porter, but I could understand why they drafted him.
All right.
Yeah, I wanted Porter, but when I started doing my background, I said, okay, I could see why they drafted him, and not draft the offensive lineman because he was rated pretty high on the cornerback board. So I just think we have a lot of sacks. I think we just have to. The Denver surprised us last week. I don't know what was going on. We usually don't give up that many points and a half. So hopefully they can do that because if they do that against Buffalo, it's a wrap. They give up 21 points to Buffalo at a half. That's not going to be a good day. So I think overall, I think this is a good test to see where the Commanders are at, where they are at. To beat the Cardinals, bad team. They beat Denver, bad team. Let's see against one of the NFL's best team how the Commanders measure up. And that's what I'm going to be excited to see. I'm going to go with Buffalo when they're going to beat us 25-21. It's going to be a nice game. But they're just going to edge us out a little bit, I think. All right, Craig, last one. Eagles versus Bucs. Another South team. It's not going to be like this next week. We ain't going to have all these South teams on here, man. They're all 2-0.
Except for one.
I'm sorry, man.
Okay. Coaching. Todd Bowles has done a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, team is. I mean, they're looking like the Seahawks or something from last year. Like this could be this year's Seahawks team. Where I didn't give them a chance. I think I've had them like 5 wins or 4 wins.
Yeah,
but
Caleb Williams.
Right now, they're overachieving in my book, and I mean they beat. they won week 1 against the Vikings team. Then they won last week. The Bears are the Bears, but this week is a tough test. But I got Nick Sirianni. I think he's even though the Eagles don't look like the Eagles should be looking, or at least the way I thought they would be looking. They're still 2-0. They still find ways to win games, and they still have Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith and all those guys. So I want to see how that team comes out this week against a tough Bucs team who's looking to go 3-0. But I got Sirianni. Offense, I got to go to Eagles. They're struggling right now. AJ Brown is pulling Stephon Diggs, and I heard he had an attitude or something like that because he's not getting the ball enough. I guess I don't know. That should have been Dallas Goedert if you ask me, because he didn't get the ball enough in the first game.
He did,
but there's too much talent on this offense with Swift, who had a really good game last week, came out of nowhere. I didn't think he was even going to put up anything like that. I think I benched him in a lot of my leagues. I just didn't believe in him, especially after what he did in the first game. You had Smith, who went off, didn't have a lot of catches, but had a lot of yardage and had touchdown. AJ Brown is still there. He's not really in sync with the offense right now, but hopefully they can figure that out. They got a new offensive coordinator, right? In Philly.
Who, the Bucs?
No, the Eagles. Don't they got a new OC?
Yeah, they do. Brian Johnson.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's the reason why the offense is the way it is, or it's not gelling right now, or it doesn't look good. I don't know. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to anyway. And hopefully they can figure some things out because, I mean, even though they put up 34 last week against the Vikings, it just wasn't Eagles look. It just didn't look like the Eagles look, especially last season. I don't even think Hurts doesn't even have 200 yards in a game yet so far. So I'm hopefully they can pull that together and get that offensive unit right. But I do like what I'm seeing out of Baker Mayfield. I can't believe I'm saying that. I was high on the running back White coming into this season. Evans and Godwin still look good. So the offense is clicking, but I got to go Eagles. Defense, I'm sticking with the Eagles here as well. I just think that the Eagles defense, I mean, even though they almost blew a lead again to the Vikings like they did in week 1 against the Patriots, and they've given up 300 plus yards back to back to quarterback. Yeah. Kirk Cousins and Mac Jones of all quarterbacks.
Yep.
Which that can't continue to happen. If they give up 300 yards to Baker Mayfield, I just think something's got to be wrong with this team at this point, and something has to be done. I don't know. They might have to have one of those meetings with players only meeting or something like that because there's no excuse. I can understand Kirk Cousins because it's Kirk Cousins. He's going to put up yards regardless, even though he has the best wide receiver in the league. But to Mac Jones and to Baker Mayfield, even though Baker Mayfield has weapons there, but there's no excuse. That defense should not be giving up that many. But I'm sticking with the Eagles here on defense until they prove me wrong, I guess. Or until if this happens, though, I don't know if I'm just going to be a little shaky on my next Eagles defensive pick. I'm going with the Eagles in this game. They're playing on the road Monday night, but just think that they're going to be able to go into Tampa's 2-0. Go into Tampa and pull this one off. Give me the Eagles 31-26. 30-26.
Okay. All right. Eagles versus Bucs. For coaching, I gotta go Nick Sirianni. I think he's a good coach. Todd Bowles has actually done a pretty good job this year, so I'm not mad at him. And if they go to the playoffs, I mean, if they go to the playoffs, that'll be awesome. You know, I know you're like it'll be a good coaching job by Todd Bowles. But I gotta go with Nick Sirianni. He just had his team in the Super Bowl. He has his team playing well. Not really well though. They are 2-0, but we saw this last year with the Bengals, man. When you make a Super Bowl, unless you're the Chiefs or the Bengals, it's hard to like win. So I think the Eagles have the players and the coaching to overcome it. But I'll wait till I get the defense. Offense, I'm going to go with the Eagles. They have the better running game. They have Jalen Hurts, who's a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. They got A.J. Brown, who I think is probably due for a breakout game. He's going to get a lot of targets. They got Devontae Smith. They got Dallas Goedert. And they got DeAndre Smith, who kind of balled out. So against the Vikings, the Vikings defense is horrible. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup, and I like to see it. Defense, I'm going Bucs, man. Buckaroo, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The defense is better. I just looked at it and was like, damn, I can't. They're giving up. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are giving up 302 yards. The Eagles. This is so shocking about the Eagles, though. 378? That's crazy. They're giving up one of the – man, they're in the bottom half of the league. This is crazy. Just like Pittsburgh, Seahawks, Chargers, Bengals, Packers, and Eagles. That's crazy. That's a wild stat, man. Those are Seahawks, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Eagles. And the Chargers should all have good defenses. They should all at least be in the middle of the pack. But I gotta go from right now. I gotta go to Bucs. Now, Craig, it might be because there's a new defensive coordinator in Philly too. Remember, the defensive coordinator for Philly, he's the head coach in Arizona, and the offensive coordinator for Philly is the head coach at the Colts. So they've had to change it up. So, they might be still adjusting to some new schemes, but this defense is looking bad. For the game, I think this is going to be a very interesting game. It's going to see where the Bucs are at. Once again, they're playing a good team, reigning team that represented the NFC in the Super Bowl. And I think the Bucs are going to pull out an upset win. I think the Bucs are going to win because I think that Philly's going to make a mistake or something. Their defense is going to give up a big play at the end of the game. Like you said, Mac Jones, who? Good gosh, man. He doesn't even have any good receivers. I don't want to say even good receivers. I don't want to say that. Let's just say weapons, that he just needs more weapons. So I'm going Bucs winning the game. I think they're going to win 28-21. All right, Mo. Bucs versus Eagles. Who you got?
All right, coaching. Coach, I like that with what Bose had to deal with. The pressure now going this season. I like what he's doing right now, but the fact that what you done for me lately, Sirianni going to the Super Bowl last year. I'm gonna take Sirianni. I'm gonna take Eagles coach. Offense. Offense. I'm still gonna take Philly. I feel like the energy they have in the room. AJ Brown's gonna go off eventually. This might be the game. Devontae Smith has been balling. He's already what he got? 11 catches, but almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2 games. I like what Mike Evans been doing, but I'm gonna go Philly overall, offensively. Defensively, I think I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay defense. I love David and White in the linebacker core. Villa up front. Shaq Bird. I think they provide problems for people. I think they're gonna continue the ball, but in this game, I'm going to say this where reality kind of sets in just a little tad bit. I'm not saying they're going to get blown out. What I'm saying is I think Eagles are going to see that, look here, we're 2-0 and we haven't played our best ball yet. We haven't even played a good, necessarily good game yet. I think the run game is going to continue. I think if they push the tempo, it's going to wear VFA out. So I'm going to go in a close one, though. I think Tampa Bay is showing the corner, turning the corner. I'm going to go Eagles in a close one, 35-27.
Well, guys, that is it. We are going to see y'all next week at 7 p.m. live on YouTube. Fourth quarter. Everybody, y'all have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, you can catch us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio every week. All right, guys. Peace.